writes to the church in Corinth in 1 Corinthians 15, 8 through 10, about Christ's resurrection. He says, "Last of all, as to one untimely born, he appeared to me. For I am the least of the apostles, unfit to be called an apostle because I persecuted the church. But by the grace of God, I am what I am. And his grace towards me was not in vain. On the contrary, I worked harder than any of them thought I was not. But the grace of God, which is within me." Paul was one of the greatest apostles of the church, and he persecuted the church. He arrested Christians, even ordered them to be stoned. I think about my own life. A lot of times in the elders meetings, we talk a lot about our history, and I was born in the church. My father was a pastor. And I can remember thinking as a teen that I couldn't wait to get out of that house and stop going to church. And I did just that. I moved away from my family. I made every excuse in the world not to go to church. I turned my back on everything I'd been taught, and I lived a life that was not in any way something my parents would have approved of for 20 plus years. My father retired from pastoring. My uncle became the pastor of the church. My cousin becoming a preacher, and eventually he's the pastor of the church today. Meanwhile, I lived my own life, checking in every now and then by phone, but living what I thought was my life. And I'm not boasting, but I certainly did my share of things that constantly remind me of how unworthy I am. But God in his grace still had plans for me. He brought me my wife, who got me to go to church with her. And the emotion that came over me in the time I spent in a middle school cafeteria, because that's where her church met, it was just reminding me so much of my childhood. The same emotion hits me here. We sing praise, and sometimes we have to choke back tears. When Steve talks about how God has helped him, when Lewis says that he feels like a fraud, we're choking back tears. The grace of God, there's nothing like it. He's worthy of praise, if for nothing else, the way he makes me feel, humbled, and makes me realize how broken I am. It doesn't matter what I do or what I say. I know I'm not worthy, but by his grace, he allows me to be in his church and in this family, the family of God.